Folks, I gotta admit, I love it when a troll gets trolled. I've had so many people say, Brando, why did you write all those funny political satirical tunes? And I said, well, because I'm trolling the trolls. I'm the guy that wrote Bleach Blonde, Bad Built Butch Body after Jasmine Crockett said that to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And I did it because Marjorie Taylor Greene is the ultimate troll who deserves to be trolled back. I'm like the guy in the movie Animal House when he said, I do believe what we need here is a good dose of ridicule. I believe when it comes to people like this, they deserve all the ridicule that you can give them. And some people would say that's not the way to go about it. When they go low, we go high. But I think we've passed that a long time ago. No disrespect meant to Michelle Obama. I love her. She's great. But folks, we're in the mud now. And when someone is a troll and goes out of their way to troll other people, I don't see anything wrong at all with giving it back to them. And so when I saw what AOC had to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene this go around, I literally laughed out loud, folks. This one is absolutely great. So she was responding to CNBC sharing this story that Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene tapped to work with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy as the new DOGE subcommittee chair. And AOC had this to say, this is good actually. She barely shows up, doesn't do the reading. To borrow a phrase I saw somewhere else, it's like giving someone an unplugged controller. I love that because Marjorie Taylor Greene has been the biggest ass kiss when it comes to Trump. She has absolutely went out there and always sang his praises and always took up for him. I can't think of one time that she ever dared criticize him. And I've showed you guys the clip before. I don't want to look at it again, but I've showed you guys the clip before of where he got off the plane and she's waving at him and he just walks right on past her. She has tried so hard to go out of her way to kiss his ass, and then he just creates an imaginary department out of thin air, even though president-elects don't have the power to do that. Neither does the president himself. That's something that would have to pass through House and get voted on. But he comes up with the Department of Government Efficiency, and they call it DOGE because they love better than anything to come up with some sort of slogan. He gives that to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. And they're actually calling Elon now the first buddy. I wonder how J.D. Vance feels about this, that he's been pushed to the side for the first buddy. And then Marjorie Taylor Greene sitting back just waiting. Please pick me. Please, I'm over here waving. Pick me. And he just lets her work alongside. You just go work with them over here in their little imaginary field that's going to hurt and destroy a whole lot of people. You just go over there and play. And it is exactly like when the bigger brother hands the controller that's unplugged to the little brother. I've had it happen to me back when I was a kid. My cousin did it to me, and I realized real quickly that I wasn't in control of anything. And I've saw my son Emmett do it to Oakley, my youngest son, and I've saw Oakley do it to my grandson, and I've had to be like, hey, don't do that. That's not nice. But that's exactly what Trump has done now to the biggest troll of them all. And so when AOC said that, I laughed out loud because Marjorie Taylor Greene is one of the most laughable people out there. But the thing that isn't funny is these people have been put in these positions and it's went to their head and they can't wait to just go out there, and they've sat back for years. These people have sat back and criticized the system, not fully understanding how it works, but just criticizing it. And now Trump's just giving them positions of power, giving them entire departments to destroy, and they can't wait. And because the voters do struggle and have a hard time making it. And yeah, I'll be the first one to admit the system doesn't always work out for us. It really doesn't. There's a lot of people that gets affected by it. There's a lot of people that falls through the cracks. There's a lot of people that feels like that they can't get ahead in this world. And so they look over and they see someone like Elon and Vivek being given this spot, and they're just going to cut on all the cost and going to cut out everything that they don't like. And people sits back and cheers it on, not realizing it's going to come right back around and slap them right square in the face. That's the worst part of this. That's the worst part about all of this. We sit here day in and day out, here on the Midas Touch Network, all the great voices we have out there in the pro-democracy movement, did everything we could have possibly did to open people's eyes to not only the type of person that Trump is, but to the type of troll someone like a Marjorie Taylor Greene is, and how she doesn't actually care about any of the people she's talking about. These are just simply power-hungry people who are trying to get rich, and they're going out there building this straw man up of us and tearing it down every day. And then they get put in these positions, and we have to sit back and watch now as eventually the things they do affects the ones that voted for them. That's the most painful part to watch for me. And then there's so many people out there that will say, oh, I don't think Trump would really do that, man. I don't think you really have to worry about it. I don't think he'll really let him do that much. Well, the Supreme Court has gave presidents immunity for official acts. Do you think Trump will ever do anything and then go, oh, yeah, now that was unofficial? Do you think he'll say that? And how much will he pump the brakes on these people? And how much will they pump the brakes on him? These people are all going to be going in there, and they're going to be over departments that affects all of our lives, and they're going to be playing bumper cars with it. They're going to be a bunch of drunks playing bumper cars with our lives. And we tried to warn everybody that that's what was headed straight at them. And folks, there was a lot of things I said leading up to the election that I think back on and thought back on a lot. Ever since those results came in, I've sat back and thought about a lot of the things I said. And one thing that I would say to people when they'd say, Brando, I'm afraid this is 2016 all over again, I'd say, no, it's not. It's not 2016 because in 2016, no one had saw what he was capable of. No one had really saw him for the person that he truly was. They had saw some mean tweets. They had saw some locker room talk. But I said, now they've had a chance to see him for what he really is. Now he's a convicted felon. Now he's been found liable of sexual abuse. It's not locker room talk anymore. Now we've saw him try to overthrow the government, overturn an election. We saw him try to steal our vote away from us. We saw that his presidency wasn't great. We saw that he didn't know how to lead. And we saw all the crazy unhinged things that he's doing. So I would say to people, no, it's not 2016. They know him for exactly what he is. We've shown him what he is. And that's the scariest part. I was right about that. It's not 2016. Now they can see him for exactly what he is. And when they saw him for exactly what he is, they still lined up and voted for him. Why? Because we've been up against one big giant propaganda machine who has went out of its way to say that anything that he was ever found guilty of or anything that we ever pointed out that he said was all just fake news and it was all us trying to censor him. I drove by a house the other day. I've actually saw more flags come out since he won than I did before the election. And that really speaks volumes to me. Because what that tells me is they really didn't want to own it. They didn't want to have to live with losing again. And now that he's won, they're out there putting their flags out more. I've seen more flags since the election than before, which tells me they realized what kind of guy he was. They didn't want to actually be connected to that again. They wanted to be able to weasel out of it. God, yeah, I never really was for that, but they really were. And I passed one the other day that said the real verdict will be on election day because they never believed anything that we ever said about him. And now he's just making up these cabinets and putting people in place. But I'm glad that Marge got that spot. I'm glad she wasn't picked for Attorney General. I'm glad she wasn't picked for anything else. She's just over there holding the controller that ain't plugged in for Elon and Vivek, and she'll think she's doing something. And if I can find a way to write another song and troll her, I sure as hell will, because a person like that is a troll, they deserve nothing more than to be trolled back. It's going to be a long and it's going to be a bumpy ride. But we're going to keep fighting the good fight. We're going to keep standing up for the truth. We're going to keep standing on the side of women's rights. We're going to keep standing on the side of people that needs to be lifted up and whose voices need to be heard. And I appreciate you guys so much for joining me here on this platform while I still have it. I truly appreciate you for being here with me. I want to see us get to 500,000 subscribers. We've already crossed over 400,000 earlier in the week, and we've already launched into like 419 last time I looked, maybe closing in on 420 now. At this rate, we may be able to hit it before the end of the year, but I would definitely like to hit 500,000 before we get to Trump's inauguration. I know you guys could help me get there, and I really appreciate you for helping. If you haven't already, also be sure to go over and check out our Patreon. It's in the links in the description of this video. I've been doing a lot of non-political content over there. I've just been having some fun and reviewing some cigars and lighting up the grill and doing my Mount Rushmores of books and talking about things that gets on my nerves that aren't political. I know everyone needs to take a break every now and then from the politics. So if you need to, but you would still like to take a break with Brando, go over and check out our Patreon. And again, I just thank you guys so much. I'm truly humbled that this many people tunes in to listen to me every day. I'm just a guy sitting in his chair thinking out loud, trying to help us get through it, and I will continue. I will continue to do so because it's too important to stay quiet. I really feel that the world doesn't need to hear me sing a Skinner cover again. We need to talk about the issues at hand, and I will be doing that as long as I possibly can.